Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got a pretty amazing video for you today. I'm going to be swapping out the headlights on my TJ. Odds are if you guys have a TJ, you've either already swapped out your headlights or want to, because the old headlights just weren't that great in them, not compared to the newer headlights. So today I'll be installing these J1 Phosphorus headlights from Mictuning, and full disclosure, these were sent to me free of charge from Mictuning to make this video. So I just wanted you guys to be aware of that. And then also in this video, I'll show you guys how to set up daytime running lights on your TJ, because they didn't come factory like that, but it's a pretty easy thing to do. So enough with the talking, let's get into this video. So at the time of me filming this video, these headlights aren't for sale yet. They sent them out to me to test. So if they are for sale by the time I post the video, then I will put a link down in the description for them. And I'll also put a link down in the description for anything else you see in this video, just so you guys know. So here's what the headlight looks like. It's pretty nice. The clip plugs right into your TJ. And then for these other two leads, for the turn signal and daytime running light, they included the wires, and you have plenty of extra to get wherever you need to go with that. So that's pretty nice. And then they also sent a connector that plugs into the harness here that I assume adapts to the newer Jeeps, but I don't know for sure because I don't have a newer Jeep. So that is in there as well. So these headlights have a few neat features with them. One of those being it has the daytime running light for the halo, and then the little lights that kind of go towards the main beam. And that looks pretty nice. I really like the design of it. But then also you can hook up the turn signal with your headlight, so it'll strobe that halo from white to the amber color, and it'll blink with your turn signal. Another neat feature these headlights have is upon powering them up, they will power up like it shows on the box here. They'll start at the bottom and fill those inner rings in a circle to the top, and then they'll kind of strobe in and out for a second, and then it'll power up the halo around them, which it's kind of a neat little thing. It happens kind of quick, but it's just an interesting little startup feature. It kind of looks cool. And then all you're going to need to install daytime running lights on the Jeep is what's called a fuse tap. I picked up a few of these off of Amazon a while ago. They were pretty cheap, and they're really simple to use. Essentially, you just remove an existing fuse, plug this in, take the old existing fuse, put it in the bottom, so that circuit's still on that same fuse, and then you add a new fuse up top, and that powers this part, and you will run it to whatever you want to power. In our case, it's going to be the daytime running lights. And they come with the crimper already on there. It came with spare fuses. It was well worth it, and it's very easy to set up daytime running lights this way. So then the last few things you'll need for this installation are some wire strippers, and then a Phillips head screwdriver, and then a Torx bit. I just have a screwdriver set with all those bits in it, so that's nice to have. And then you're going to need some wire connectors. This is another really nice thing I bought off of Amazon. It's just a huge amount of wire connectors in here, but they're not regular wire connectors. They're kind of self-soldering wire connectors, and they heat shrink around it. So you just take a lighter or a heat gun to it, and it'll tighten the plastic, like heat shrink all around the ends of the wires. And then that middle part is solder. It's like a low melting point solder. So it'll melt and then fuse the wires together, and then give you a watertight seal on everything. So these are really awesome. And again, link down in the description for all this stuff. Mictuning included instructions with a little wiring diagram on the back to tell you what wire powers what, and that's really all you need to do this install. It's super simple. You can probably do it in about 30 minutes or less. So let's get to it. So to start this install, the first thing we have to do is remove this plastic bezel that's around the headlight. And to do this, you just remove 3 Phillips head screws. It's a little hard to get a screwdriver in here. Just kind of take your time. So once you have all the screws out, you can just pull this plastic bezel off. Now the next thing you'll have to do is to remove this chrome bezel that goes around the headlight, and that's what actually holds it in here. And to do that, you have to remove these 4 Torx bit screws around the headlight bezel, and those are a T15. So now that both those bezels are removed, there's nothing holding the headlight in anymore. The wires are still attached, but the headlight can just fall out now. It's kind of stuck in there a little bit, so it's not a big deal, but I'm going to go ahead and open the hood so I can get to the wires. So now I'll just kind of pull the headlight out, and then I can unplug it. And then this wire you guys won't have. This is what I ran to be my daytime running light. So I'm just going to untape this some and then cut it at the connector. So now with the headlight removed, it's time to install the new headlight. And the first thing I'm going to do is take these 2 spare wires and plug them into the pigtail, just because it'll be easier to reach right now. The yellow wire will go to the yellow wire on the headlight, and then the red wire will go to the red wire on the headlight. And the red wire is for the daytime running lights. The yellow wire is for the turn signals. So with those hooked up, I will now pull out the plug here and plug the headlight in. And then I'm just going to push all these through. This side where the wire comes out is the bottom of the headlight. So just slide it in that way. And you'll notice it'll kind of seat in there, right there. And I can't spin it anymore, so it's sat in there how it should be. I'm going to go ahead and pull this plastic off. And then I'm going to have a beautiful headlight, and I'm going to get my fingerprints all over it. So with that off, you can take your chrome bezel and put that back on. And again, that'll be those 4 screws. This part is easier if you have someone else come out and hold the headlight for you, but I am just going to do it alone. That way I can have all the bragging rights. Try not to lose your screw. Alright, that headlight is in there nice and snug. So at this point, the headlight is plugged in and will function as a headlight. The only things you won't have right now are the daytime running light for the Halo and then the turn signal. So to make those work, you got to come down in here and grab those extra wires that you stuck through and untie them. Pull up all that extra wire, unwind it. And then I won't need anywhere near this much wire, so I'm going to go ahead and clip it off about here. And then, like I said before, the yellow is for the turn signal, and then the red is the daytime running light. I'm just going to go ahead and take my wire strippers and strip them back. Give me some wire to work with. I always spin the end of my wires, that way it kind of braids them together and they're less likely to fray when you touch things with them. So this is where my install is going to start to vary from your guys' install, because I have aftermarket fenders and aftermarket turn signals, and I've long since cut off the original turn signal wiring harness and kind of spliced into it. So my turn signals are all kind of mixed up with these wires here. And then for my daytime running lights, I've already run a wire for that. So I'm going to go ahead and hook this up real quick, and I'll kind of walk you through what I'm doing, but it'll be a little different for you for this part, but don't worry about that. I'll kind of talk you through what you should do. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my red wire, which is for the daytime running light, take one of my fancy connectors and slide it over the wire, take my wire I've previously run for the daytime running light and slide it in on the other side, and then meet them in the middle. And then my heat gun's upstairs. I'm just going to use a lighter, and I'm going to heat this, starting at one end, getting it nice and warm, moving down to the other side, getting it nice and snug, and then focusing on the solder in the middle until I see it melt down, which it just did. It's a little less singed when you use a heat gun, but this still works. So now that's connected, it's soldered together in the middle, and you have these nice kind of watertight ends on it. So that's simple enough. The next thing to do is for the turn signal, which, give me a minute, I have to figure out which wire goes to my flashing turn signal. So I've figured out now which wire is for my flashing turn signal, and on the Jeep side of the wiring harness, it is the solid gray wire. So I'll bring you around real quick and point you down there to show you the wire. Again, if you have like the stock fenders and turn signals, this is going to be on a clip, so you will have to cut and splice this wire. So if you look right here, this solid gray wire is the one for my blinker. So that's the one I'm going to cut this connector off, put a new connector on the gray side, and then double the wires up on this side, and then I'll run that other wire to this turn signal on the headlight. This one's going to be a little harder to do since this one is so far down. There's not a lot of length left on this gray wire of the original wiring harness, so you're not going to be able to see much on this one. So sorry about that, guys. Cut off my old connector, re-strip these wires. Oh, this one's going to be a pain to get to this gray wire. Okay. These connectors, or these strippers, are not meant for tight areas. Oh man, I don't know if I can get it with these. Had to break out the old school wire strippers. Okay. Oh, okay. So now I need some extra wire to splice into this to give me that third wire that comes off to go to the headlight. And I'm actually just going to use that extra trimming I cut off the headlight leads earlier. So I'm going to strip the end of this one now. Twist it. And then I'm going to take this red wire that goes to my aftermarket turn signal. I'm going to put these two together. Okay. And then I'm going to stick them in one end of the connector. Hopefully I can make this work on this small connector with two fat wires. Okay. That's not ideal, but it should work. And then I'll take the gray wire and stick it in the other end of the connector. Force it into the middle there. And now I'll just take my lighter again and catch stuff on fire. Try and keep it away from all the other wires. So that will cool down and get a little stiffer. It's still pretty hot right now. And now I have that spare wire I need, but it does not need to be this long again. So I'm just going to cut some of it off. Just like that. Toss that aside. I'm going to strip the end of this wire. Give it a twist. And then I'll just take my two yellow wires and I'm going to put them together with a connector. And again, bring out the lighter. Shrink it down. Focus on the solder in the middle. There goes the solder. And put a little more heat on the shrink. There we go. Very nice. All right. So that is 100% wired up how it should be on this headlight. Now at the end of this video, I'll go over real quick how to do the daytime running light. So this is more if you already had a wire for your daytime running light, and then like I said, you'll have to splice into the turn signal, but it's pretty simple in general. You just have to have some wire connectors and a little extra wire, and really you get the extra wire with the headlight because it has plenty with it. So now I'm going to let you guys see the cool feature it does on startup, and then I'll show you the headlight on, the daytime running light working, and then show you the turn signal. So here we go. So there's the daytime running light and the cool kind of power up feature, and now here's the turn signal. And you can see how it flashes like that, and I think that looks pretty cool. and it goes with my turn signal because it's spliced into the same wire. And then this might blind you guys, but I'm going to turn on the headlight now. Oh yeah, that's bright. And then here's the bright. One thing I really liked when they showed me the picture of these headlights, when they offered to send them to me, was how that looks on that picture with that orange halo around there and then all the blue light in the middle. I thought that looked really cool. It kind of gives it like a iris and eye look, and I thought that would look really neat, but it's set up to be a turn signal. However, I set up my other headlight to be powered on like this as a daytime running light, which I'll show you how to do that too if you want. But if you do that, you lose two features. It will not blink with the turn signal, and then you also won't get that cool kind of power-up feature as it slowly lights up the light. You just happen to lose both those features because it's not meant to be run like this, but it can be run like that. So let me show you what it looks like with that orange as the regular daytime running light halo. Okay, so here's how it powers up and looks when you run the amber color or orange color as the daytime running light. It's kind of hard for you guys to see because the camera doesn't love it, but I'll move you in a little closer and it'll pick up on the light better. There we go. That's how it looks in person. I think that looks incredible. Not that the white light looks bad, that also looks really good, but I don't know, it's just something about that orange with the white that looks really, really cool to me. So let me know down in the comments, guys, if you think I should run it like this, with the orange as the daytime running light on the halo, or if I should run it how it was meant to be run, like that. All right, here's a side-by-side comparison of the startup and both lights. So yeah, just let me know down in the comments what you guys think. I'm really kind of leaning towards the orange. I just think it looks really neat. If you guys were interested in running the orange as the daytime running light, like I'm thinking about doing, it's a really simple thing to do. You just don't tie in the yellow to the turn signal wire, and all you do is tie the yellow in with the red to whatever you're running as a wire for your daytime running lights. So you just do the two wires into the one, and that'll give you that orange all the time. So now to complete this headlight, all you do is put that one plastic bezel back in there. But before I do that, I wanted to show you guys in here with this light, if you can see it. There's a tiny screw here that isn't used for either of the bezels, and that's for your headlight adjustment. I believe this one does the vertical, so like up and down. And then there's another screw here and one here. And I believe it's this one that does your left to right. And to see that, if you have your bezel where it goes back in here like this, you'll also notice they have little divots on the bezel so you can get to those screws. And they only have one here and one up here. But the bad thing is I can't adjust my headlights in the daylight. And then it's also not great for me to do at my house either, because how you're supposed to do it is on a flat level surface and have a wall you can point your headlights at. And my driveway is kind of sloped down towards the road, so it would kind of affect my adjustment. So if you guys need to see how to adjust these headlights, I suggest you just go look at a different video for it, or just kind of wing it and test it on the road and make sure you go have someone else in a car sit in front of you and see if it's blinding them or not, and just make it work however it works for you. To finish this headlight, I'm just going to go ahead and reinstall this bezel, and then I will try and adjust it later tonight once I can see where they're shining. And then other than this, you just move on and do the same thing on the other side for the other headlight, and then you're done. And like I said, this is a pretty easy install, and it makes a huge improvement, especially if you drive, like I do, kind of country roads at night for work. It kind of helps to have bright light to see all the animals that kind of run out in front of you. So now let's move on to the daytime running light side of this. I'm sure some of you have been waiting for. This is pretty simple. I'm on the side with my battery, which is my passenger side, and this is the under the hood fuse box. To open this, you just squeeze the front up here and release those two clips. Toss it back. And as you can see right here is that fuse tap I was telling you about. I tied it in to the 15 amp O2 sensor fuse. So I removed the 15 amp fuse out of here, plugged in the fuse tap, plugged the 15 amp into the bottom, so the O2 sensors are still on that 15 amp fuse, and then I added a new fuse up here that came with it for the lights, and then I ran this wire outside the box so I could close the box, and then I just tied in a spare wire I had to it, crimped 2 of them into the end of this one fuse tap, and then I spliced one wire. It's this one going that way across the back of the wiring harness all the way around to the other side of the headlight, and that's the daytime running light for that side. And then the other one's short. It just kind of comes up here and runs right down to this headlight, and that's all it took. So I chose this fuse because it doesn't power up until I start the car. It doesn't even power up when I just turn the key forward all the way. With all the other accessories, it'll stay off until you actually start the car. So it was just a good fuse to use, and it works out well. And let me pick you up and I'll give you a look down in there real quick so you can see a little better. If you look down in here, it's this one. You've got your 3 40 amp fuses, these green ones here, and then it's that first 15 amp at the top. And if you look over at the top of the box, those are those 3 40 amps, and then there's that 15 amp, and it tells you what it is. It's the O2 sensor. And I was able to just be able to close that wire in on the box, and the box will still close and latch, and that's all there is to it. And here's that wire I was talking about. I don't know if you could see it before. It's just a spare wire I had laying around, and I just ran it across this rod to the wiring harness all the way across, and then down over to the other headlight. And then this one just comes out right here and goes down to the headlight. It's pretty easy and simple to do, and it also adds kind of a modern look to the Jeep with the daytime running lights. It's just a nice, simple mod. I just wanted to try and get some B-roll for you guys with the headlight when it's getting darker out, but the GoPro just doesn't like how bright it is. Compared to my old headlight, my old Halo, this is what it looks like when you make the daytime running light orange. Now this is how they showed it on the packaging, and I really like how it looks. I think it's pretty neat looking, but that is meant to be a turn signal, so you don't have to do it this way. You can have it all white, and here it is all white. Now the GoPro hates it, so I got to get in real close. Sorry if it blinds you. That's what it looks like being all white. Again, it looks really good. It's way brighter than the other one, and this is without the headlight even on. So I also want to show you guys real quick a comparison between my old and new headlights at night so you can see the brightness. The old one is the one on the driver's side, and the new one is the one on the passenger side. So when you look right at it, it kind of looks like this one's brighter, but I promise it's not. It just has light in more areas than that one does. So if I bring you down, you can start to see as you're getting in the beam of light just how much brighter the one on the passenger side is. So I'm pretty happy about that. And real quick, I'll point you into a dark direction, and I'll turn on the headlights, and I will let you see what it looks like. So now I have you pointing into my dark garage, and I'm going to turn the lights on so you can see the comparison into a dark area. All right. So you can kind of, I think, tell the one on the right is a little bit brighter than the one on the left, and that's the old one is on the left side, and the new light is on the right. So I'm going to walk in front of the camera real quick, and I'm going to block the old headlight with my body so you can see the difference. So now I am completely blocking the old headlight, and that is all the light from the new headlight. You can see that kind of really clean cut-off line on the wall, and then on the ground you can see how the light beam hits and spreads out really evenly. Now I'm going to walk over and block the new headlight so you can see what the old headlight looked like. So now I'm completely blocking the new headlight. As you can see, the old headlight isn't bad, but it's definitely a lot dimmer, and there's no definitive lines anywhere. Like the light just kind of bleeds into every area. There's no solid cutoffs. So there they are together again, and here are the brights. As you can see, there is a lot more light on the right side than the left, and I'll again walk up there and block the light for you guys so you can see what it looks like. So I'm completely blocking the old headlight again, and I mean, it really didn't change the lighting in the garage at all. Most of that light is coming from the passenger headlight or the new headlight I put in. So now I'm going to walk over and block the new headlight. And now I'm blocking the new headlight. And again, as you can see, it just kind of all bleeds together in there. It's bright-ish. It's better than the original headlights that came in a TJ, but it's nowhere near as good as this new headlight is. I'll let you see them both together again. And you can just tell, I mean, that is way more light. I'll walk up there and kind of stand in front of it and get overexposed like crazy on the camera for you. So here's the new headlight. I'm trying to stand over here, and this would be the old headlight with a little bit of the new headlight hitting me. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that those new ones are much nicer and much brighter. And finally, here's a look of the Jeep just sitting on the street and shining the lights down there. All of this on the ground here is from that new headlight. The old headlights do not leave that mark on the ground. And then you can see, I think, it's hard, but it's up there hitting a house kind of high. So I will have to adjust my headlights just a pinch, but the light is great. I'll tell you that right now. It's putting out a lot of good light. So these are just going to be a huge improvement from my old headlights. Let me walk in front of this beam and show you the difference. That's the old headlight. That's the new headlight. And I feel like that is super definitive. Let me block the old headlight in comparison. So the old headlight's blocked and you can't even tell. Yeah, look at that tiny bit of light. That's incredible. So I am super happy with these. Very, very happy. And they look awesome. I wish the camera would pick that up a little bit better, but that orange looks really cool. Sorry if that blinds you. It's the only way to get it to adjust. That's just super neat. So I'd like to say a special thank you to Mictuning for sending me these headlights to review. So far, I think they're awesome. I think they look great. Obviously, I can't do a long-term review of them yet because I just got them installed, but I think they'll work out fantastic. With that said, guys, that's going to end this install video. I hope you'll check out these headlights. I'll see you on the next one.